Welcome to Fitzdog Radio, your intrepid host. Happy Earth Day, everybody. I'm taping this on Earth Day, April 22nd. And a little toast. I want to make it my Earth Day toast to my father-in-law, Joel Covell, who's no longer with us, but he was a very influential environmentalist. He probably published a dozen books in his life. Very esteemed college professor, had a chair at Bard University. And one of his books, what was it called? Hold on, I wrote it down somewhere. Can't remember. But anyway, it was a big book, not only here, but like all over China. It was like really influential. He used to go to China and lecture and edited a newsletter for environmentalists. Anyway, this guy really walked the walk. He had like this house in Woodstock, New York, and he wore the Birkenstocks, and he was like me, unshaven. Had a fucking whatchamacallit instead of a toilet, he had a compost. He shit right into a compost. But he lived the life, and he basically died. And when he died, he had requested that his body not be embalmed because it's bad for the earth. And so we took him. He was put in a wicker basket with flowers and leaves and stuff thrown all over him. And then we carried him into the woods. I was one of the pallbearers. We carried his body into the woods, and we just put it in the ground. I don't even know if it was legal. I don't know if we were allowed to do it. It was on the outskirts of the graveyard. Anyway, he always had a big influence on me. He's always a guy who he was a great grandfather. He really cared about his grandkids a lot. It was very sweet. Miss him. And his grandkids are here now. The nephews are visiting. My wife's sister's kids. It is hard because I think they're 13 and 10. What a fucking handful. I love these kids. They're interesting and they're fun and they're just great. But I forgot how fucking hard it was. Just feeding them, and they take things out and don't put them back. You spend a lot of time just reorganizing, and you have to pay attention because you fuck kids up. Like my biggest thing is I have ADHD, and I never wanted to feel like I was ignoring my kids. But so I do a lot. Like I tell them jokes ever since they were little. I've always told them like dad jokes, like really corny jokes. Like their favorite one when they were little was, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Fish. They love that. I still love it. It's a solid piece of comedy. And then I told them I asked their parents, can I tell them a dirty joke, like a shit joke? And they were like, of course. These kids they live in Harlem. They grew up in New York City. As an 11-year-old, my nephew was taking the subway through Harlem to school every day. Very, very street smart, very cool kids. Anyway, so I told them this. I don't know if you know this joke, but I was like, all right, guy's at a bar and he's shit-faced. He's annihilated. And he gets so drunk that he vomits all over his shirt. And he looks at his friend and he goes, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to go home. I see my wife. I got vomit on my shirt. His buddy goes, look, take $20 out of your pocket. Give me the $20. He sticks it in the guy's shirt pocket. He goes, you go home. You tell your wife, a guy next to you at the bar threw up on your shirt, gave you $20 to dry clean. The guy goes, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. That's genius. I'm going to buy you another shot. Does another shot and another shot. Comes home 2 hours later, fumbling with his keys in the door, wakes his wife. He walks in. She's standing there. And she goes, look at you. Look at you. You're drunk. You got vomit on your shirt. And he goes, no, look at my shirt pocket. The guy threw up on me. He gave me money to dry clean. He gave me $20. She reaches in the pocket. She pulls out $100 bill. And she goes, this is $100. The guy goes, he shit my pants. great fun. So I told them that joke, and they were howling, and the parents were fine with it. I want to be that uncle. I had an Uncle Paul that was I had some goody two shoes uncles. My Uncle Francis and my Uncle Mike, who I loved, but they were very they were just good Catholic, solid guys who grew up Catholic in the Bronx and lived the life. Each had kids and raised them well. And anyway, my Uncle Paul was more of like, he was a sailor. He was in the Navy, and he used to tell me dirty jokes. He was great. Irvine Improv, thanks for coming out this weekend. We packed it, and it's a big room. It's like 450 seats. And so thanks for coming out. So, 450 in each show, and a total of maybe 9 black people all weekend, which was a little odd. It's a little weird, especially since like the guy that I have open for me is black, and I think he's like, where the fuck are you bringing me? This guy, Chris, is fucking great. Chris Riggins, he's a really funny comic. Opens for Chappelle a lot on the road, and he was great. Local guy. He was a door guy at the Comedy Store, and now he's moved on, quit the day job, and now he's doing comedy full time. So look for him, support him. I had a couple that came out that showed me on their phone pictures. This was the 11th time they'd come out and seen me, and one of those times was their first date. And so they showed me the pictures of each 11 times. I had it in a little folder, and I was wearing the same shirt in 3 of the photos. So here's the thing: when you go on the road, you get a shirt that is wrinkle-free, that looks sharp, that's a strong color. You're going to wear that shirt a lot. I'm not a big shopper. I find some shirts I like. I bring them on the road. If I'm there for 3 nights, I'm bringing 2 shirts. I'm going to repeat a shirt. And I'm going to keep them for years. And I'm going to take good care of them. But you're going to see the same shirt. You may see the same act sometimes if you come for 11 years. You may see some of the same jokes. But that, I think it's more romantic for them. I'm their Cupid. It's very beautiful. What else? Oh, driving home last night. This was surreal. I'm driving home. It's like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I'm going down La Cienega, and there's a car next to me, and it has no driver. They're called, I forget what the fuck they're called, but they're Foley. I think it's, no, what's the brand? I forget what it's called, but it was so surreal. It's got like cameras all over it and a spinning camera on top, and it pulled up in the right lane. La Cienega has 3 lanes going down, but nobody goes in the right lane because the right lane has got potholes and people pull out of side streets. It's a very dangerous road. This driverless car is going right down the right lane, and I see him, and I pull up at the light next to him. I don't know if it's a him, it's her. I don't know what fucking pronoun an electric car uses. They are next to me. So I pull up ahead, and I try to, just to test them, I try to push them off the road. So I ease into that lane, and they just slow down and stop. And I stop them. And then I keep driving. And then it made my stomach drop. I was like, it's here. It's happening. It's over. I heard something like 3 million truck drivers will lose their jobs in the next 5 years. 5 years! Because here's the thing. Once a company can get away with this, why would they pay somebody? Why wouldn't they just spend that amount of money that they'd pay for 1 year for a driver into a driverless technology that they never have to pay somebody that, by the way, will make less mistakes on the road? You will pay less insurance on the truck. It will conserve gas because it will drive exactly the way you program it to drive. It will drive through the night. Truck drivers have to get a break. I don't know if you know this, but they have to clock in and out and take breaks. Not this fucking truck. It's just going to keep on driving. And it's going to drive past a lot of unemployed people. More disgruntled, unemployed people. And I thought about my kids, and I thought about the Uber jobs that are gone. And it's just my heart sank. I don't know. Some people say be hopeful. These jobs create jobs. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck my kids are going to do. You know? And what about these guys? Who says they are that good? You know, there's technical glitches. These things could go barreling into... They can't... I don't know. Like, as a cop... If it fucks up, does a cop pull over a driverless car? Is it programmed to pull over when it sees lights and a siren? Does it know? And who gets the ticket? Say the cop wrote a ticket. Who would he give the to? Who could she? I don't know that the cop's a he. It could be a she. Who's she going to give the ticket to? I don't know. What if you're drunk? What if you're drunk and you have a driverless car and you get pulled over, but you weren't driving? You're just in it. Do you get a DUI? These are the questions I want to ask. I don't know. Other gigs coming up. Carpinteria just announced the Alcazar Theater on May 3rd. May 7th, I will be running in the Two Bear 5K. Segura and Bert asked me to run in some kind of a, I don't know if it's for charity, but there's a poster out. You can come. You can also run if you'd like to. I don't know how. I'll be in Mamaroneck at the Emmeline Theater May 31st. Escondido at the Grand Comedy Club June 7th and 8th. Pittsburgh at the WDVE Festival June 21st with Harlan Williams. Get tickets for all of these adventures at Fitzdog.com. And now let's get to some emails. Adam Bean wrote in, I just heard your Pete Holmes interview. What a delight he is. Being around Pete is like feeding your soul Rice Krispie treats. Well, that about sums it up. He is delightful and sweet. Please consider a phone call segment on Sunday Papers with one news story to which he gives his thoughts or experiences. Another few years of Sunday Papers, you'll be able to take it on tour and pitch it as a TV show. Already shot a pilot for it. Couldn't sell it as a TV show. I guess nobody reads a newspaper anymore, so they don't know what the fuck we're talking about. And then I got this piece of email, and maybe you can tell me, should I follow up on this? It's an opportunity. Hi, my name is Omar Salada, franchise consultant at Franchise Creator, the world's leading private equity-backed franchise development firm. What does that even mean? I would like to speak to the owner of Greg Fitzsimmons about opening up more locations through franchising. And then Omar gives me some information how to get in touch with him. So I don't know. Maybe whoever owns Greg Fitzsimmons, I got to find out who owns me. But maybe he can open up more of me. Then there is one from Brad Chatilian, who said, point of sale donations. You are correct that retailers get accolades from charities when they hand them a big check from point of sales donations. I was talking about when you go to Walgreens and they try to hit you up for $1 for St. Jude's or some bullshit. But they do not get a tax deduction. I read that they're really strict on that. The donor may claim a deduction, but not the retailer. Here's my idea. When they say round up 49 cents and give a donation to whomever, how about I round down and you send 51 cents? I like that. How about that? How about you match what I pay? Walgreens. We got some overheards, but we will get to those later. I want to get to my interview with the great... This guy's been on the podcast as much as anybody I've ever had on. He's got a new special called Crazy Good. He's the youngest of 10 children. I knew him. I've known him for 30 years, since he was a doorman at the Boston Comedy Club, back when Chappelle and Attell and Jay Moore and all the great ones, Mike Royce, we're all banging around doing sets. He was the door guy. And now he's a very successful comedian. He co-created Chappelle's Show. He co-wrote Half Baked. He's got some other specials called Three Mics and Unacceptable and Blocks. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. Here's my chat with the great Neil Brennan. Welcome to the show. Back to the show. Neil Brennan, my God.
Multiple
time
champion. And this is the first time I've done it on this roof in Venice.
Yeah.
And it's good to be here, it's not good to be outside of that closet near that commuter airport that you used to have us do it in.
That was intimate, wasn't it?
At best.
Do you know what I paid for that place? $350 a month for 13 years.
Yeah, it showed. You get what they
Yeah, you do. And this place is $22,000 a month for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Totally.
Totally worth it.
That's why I have my daughter working for me.
Pretty great.
Yeah.
And a couple of real hunks.
It's a good-looking staff, I'll tell you. And I think in podcasting, that's the key. Who's the best-looking podcaster that's big?
Well, Tosh is doing a podcast.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of, are you comedy people or just regular people?
No, comedy people.
Tosh is always one of the better-looking comedians. Yeah,
he's crisp. He's got a good American look.
Segura's gotten better looking when he lost weight. Schultz is good looking.
It's funny when I see Segura lose weight or Jimmy Kimmel lose weight, you really do kind of go like, no, liked fat better.
They're more relatable.
Yes,
fat.
I think that's what it is.
But you get more fans skinny.
You think so?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Right?
Hello.
Angular, I would call it.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, you get more. People would rather watch a good-looking person than a relatable person.
That's probably true.
Yeah, because you're getting the comedy.
Yeah.
Why not also get a rock-hard erection? Kind of. So I'm not going to say who, but somebody was casting a huge comedy movie. It's a now considered a classic, and they were gonna. It was a bunch of guys, and they were all sort of mediocre looking. And the producer was like, "Can we have one good looking guy in the movie?
Yeah,
just fucking one,
right?
Instead of like, yeah, they're all funny, but like just one good, just a movie star. There's movie stars for a reason." Just can we have one movie star?
Yeah.
And I won't say who it was.
Well, I think Judd is pretty, he doesn't care too much about, he had what's his name is always good looking, James Franco, but he's gone now.
Jason Segel's not bad looking.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's pretty average.
Yep.
If you look at the old sitcoms, look at Ethel and Fred on I Love Lucy.
Right, but they're not the leads.
Right.
Lucille Ball's good looking. Des Annes is great looking.
Archie Bunker and Edith.
Ugly. A couple of uggos.
Yeah.
Look, we can go back and forth. The entire Friends cast, gorgeous.
Yes.
Or not gorgeous, but good looking. Seinfeld's kind of good looking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's
okay.
Yeah, he's not ugly.
I think you want to be...
Elaine's great looking.
Yeah. I think you want to be good looking without... Friends proves this wrong, but you don't want to be beautiful. You want to be good looking.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Kristen Wiig's also good looking. Polar's good looking. Tina's good looking. Like there's a lot of good looking people.
Would you consider me good looking?
I wouldn't, and nor would anyone. I think probably what was most hurtful about my answer was the speed.
It was fast, and there was a follow up. You could have said no.
Because I was so heated.
Yeah.
From the original, I had so much adrenaline that you even asked me.
I think it was me asking.
I didn't know what to do with it.
If somebody else had asked you,
so much excess adrenaline, I was like, "What am I going to do with this?"
I'm going to tag my bit.
Tag it.
Yeah. If somebody else had said, "Do you think Greg Fitzsimmons is good looking?" You probably would have gone, "Not so much."
Well, then I would have rooted for you.
Yeah. And now the underdog.
But now that you asked, it's what's to root for? Fucking piece of garbage.
I think you have to be Irish to really find either one of us good looking. There has to be something in your DNA that clicks and goes.
Don't drag me into this.
Oh, come on. You're in it.
I am stupid enough to think I'm a little better looking than you.
Do you think that?
I do. But again,
you're younger.
I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
Who am I going to root for?
Yeah.
We'd have to do. I don't know if your daughter would count. Although it would be great if your daughter said that I was better looking than you. You'd have to, of course, cancel the whole podcast. If your daughter, you'd have to shut it down.
Yeah.
I would call iTunes to go shut this motherfucker down. Yeah, I think I'm better. A little like it's not a blowout.
No, it's not a blowout.
But
You also,
I don't know.
I'm a lot older than you.
Yeah.
Not a lot, actually.
Or somehow.
Yeah.
Something.
I think I've aged harder in my time.
That's where the no kids helps.
Yeah.
Daughter. And it would be a real sweet payoff if she knew why I was better looking than you and still punish you for it again.
In other words,
it's because of her.
I'm the product of her. My looks are a product of
it's
having
her
raised
fault.
her. Right.
And she's still like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chief.
Yeah.
Loyalty only goes so far.
Yeah. I mean, he's the charisma machine too.
NB?
Yeah.
So, again, not the fastest race in the history of races. Greg Fitzsimmons versus Neal Brennan in a charisma off. But if
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're charismatic in your way. Like I'll watch you sometimes and be like, why aren't you louder like him? Why aren't you more? You're more like you come into a set at the Comedy Store and like flip over tables.
Yeah.
Like, all right, listen here, pussies.
You tell on stage or backstage?
On stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, on stage. You
Right.
like that's. I don't know if you've always been like that. I kind of feel like you have.
Yeah.
Most places you will flip the table and be like, all right, look up, listen up.
Take control.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it comes out of fear. I think for me, like, comedy is very much like a fight or flight response.
Not me. Absolutely me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I think that night after night, and I actually don't even want to acknowledge it because I don't want to deconstruct it and have it not work anymore. But for 35 years, I have put myself in a position that makes me uncomfortable and fought my way out of it.
My buddy Bajan calls it a car accident. He's like, you get into a car accident every night. And I was like, I do.
Yeah, that's right.
And I train my body to act like it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
It's just, it's not. But and then having said that, George Burns lives to be 100. So.
Oh, I think it keeps you young. Actually, I think it's a really good. In exercise, you want to shock your body. Mm-hmm. They say do different exercises each time so your body doesn't learn it. And I think stand-up is like a completely different terrain every time you go on, and you're adjusting to it. And I think that during the pandemic, I realized that not only is it a car crash, it's a car crash that I need.
Mm-hmm.
Like without it, I kind of flatlined.
Yeah, I didn't flatline, but I realized it's a car accident that I don't need. I like it. Yeah. But I don't, it's not, I'd only been doing it 15 years at the pandemic, whereas you had done 30. So it was like, all right, this is, I can be. And I've also realized that there are so many different ways to be a comedian where we all thought like, no, you have to be Attell. You have to be Dave Attell. There's only one way to be a comedian, and it's Dave Attell. Yeah. And then now I'm kind of like, I think I don't have to be Dave Attell. Right. I think I can be something else or whatever. I don't have to do it. You got to do 7 spots a night for 30 years, or not, because that's not how Pryor did it. That's not how Carlin did do it that way. But so what? That doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Chris Rock takes long periods off. Like, people take time off. Louie took time off. Like, you can take time off and still be good at it. Yeah. I think doing it that much at the beginning is helpful, but like once you figure it out, the other trap that, and I won't say who, everybody can get sound off in the comments. Somebody made a special fairly recently, and it was all of their jokes were like, so I called the concierge. Yeah, right, which is like, how do you think this is what normal people's life is like? Yeah, right. Like just constantly calling the concierge and dealing with like, I was dealing with my handyman and my groundskeeper. Yeah. And servant comedy. Mm-hmm. It was the name of the special. So I'm more. It's the good part about aging is you go, oh, everyone's fucking full of shit and lying and or guessing, and the idea of there being one way to do it is so wrong. Yes. And like, I'm not even gonna pretend that's the right way to. It's silly to act like, no, that's how you do it. It's like, I've been, the last couple years, whenever I do TV, I really try. I really practice. And I did Fallon last week, and I spent the morning and afternoon, or it was the beginning, 3 hours in the afternoon, in my room, writing it out over and over and over again. And then I wrote out what he was going to say, and then I wrote out what I would say, and I came up with a bunch of new shit, which was great. But and then I went to the show, and I'm in the dressing room, and like, I know a lot of people there, and they're coming in, and finally I was like, hey, I just have to be like an NFL place kicker. Let me be weird. Let me be off to the side and working my hips and my leg. Yeah. And when I make the field goal, we're all going to hug. Mm-hmm. Let me make the field goal instead of this like thing of like, I don't even know how. Chappelle's a good and bad example of most things, which is like, he's so fluent that he's just like, yeah, man, you just smoke. Yeah. Then you walk out there and crush.
Oh, he'll be in the middle of a sentence backstage, and he'll just walk on. Yeah.
Yes. And then you destroy, and it's the greatest show anyone's ever seen. It's like, all right, well, that's not that. I can't do that. Yeah. So I'm just going to admit that I have to work hard. Yeah. And do that.
No, at the store, I mean, you learn this in New York, following Attell, following Louis C.K., following Chappelle, back when we were in New York. And it's like, you learn that you can't do what the guy ahead of you just did.
Right.
Because I follow Bobby Lee. For some reason, they put me on after Bobby Lee like every night at the store. Yeah, and this guy is up there. I had to follow
D'Elia for 6 years.
Yeah, D'Elia. Yeah. These guys are just destroying.
You think I'm a charisma machine, folks.
Oh, that guy oozes charisma.
Yeah.
And so you got to say, always have to say to myself.
Stuff. Go ahead.
No, but and I watch you, and I actually get something from watching you too, because I see a guy go in and you lock into your energy and you lock into your point of view, and they find you. It doesn't always happen in the first joke or two, but by the third joke, you're locked in.
Yeah.
And I think
I can't win at the Bobby game.
Right.
When I follow, I tell you what I do to undercut Bobby. They give it up for Bobby Lee. He looks like homeless Ali Wong. Lets him know I'm racist. Yeah. Sexist. Yeah. I'm all kinds, and it lets him know I'm not. He's done.
Yeah. I used to say, before he got big, how about a hand for Bobby Lee and his new film, Crazy Poor Asians?
Great. Great. Also serves the same purpose.
Right.
We're both racist. Again,
yeah.
If you're white, you got to write your own.
Yeah.
But undercut them racially and let them know that that part of the show's over. But yeah, no, it is like I can't do anything else.
Yeah.
It's like, well, this is what it's going to be. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? Mm-hmm. What do you want to? We're on a date. Yeah. It's a 15-minute date. You want to sulk? Yeah. Or you want to enjoy yourself? You can sulk.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Whether you're sulking or not, sweetie. I call him sweetie.
Well, and it's like dating a woman and she used to date fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And it's
Bobby Lee.
She used to date Bobby Lee.
Yep. She used to date Krista Lee. She used to date Bobby Lee. She used to date. She was just dating him.
Yeah.
Before I came and ruined it.
Right.
But I'm all you got.
You got me. That's it.
This is all, I actually said that to a girlfriend one time. I go, this is all God wanted for you. This is it, honey. You like it? This is it. This is all you get.
You know what? And this is what you deserve.
Yeah, maybe.
This is all you deserve.
At the end of the day, maybe you did this to yourself. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what a relationship ultimately is two people kind of like you shot higher and then you finally found somebody and you both grab the other person. You grab the other, you go, this is as good as I'm going to do. And you grab them. And if you're lucky, they're saying the same thing. And both people feel like they're getting a good deal.
And as a guy, you may go, she couldn't do better than you. No, she tried.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
You're right.
Couldn't put up with that level, my level, because I'm better looking than you, of the bullshit that I would put her through.
Yeah.
Yours is a lower level bullshit because you're uglier, so you can only get away with so much. I can get away with a lot. And yeah, but that's exactly right. And I was thinking about our friend Mike Gibbons on the way over here because he once said being married is sitting around being sad with your wife.
That's horrible.
It's incredibly horrible. It was about 6 months before he got divorced.
Wow.
But it was there's something to it.
No.
For some people.
For some people.
I
am the most happily married guy you've ever met. 25 years this summer.
Fantastic.
And when I hear I've never said anything bad about her on stage.
Yep.
And I think that's part of it is maybe I'm not the most happily married guy in the world, but if I believe I am, I am. I think as soon as you start saying marriage is sitting around being sad, well, now it is because you're projecting that.
Well, now you want to make the joke work.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Now you're going to want to make your premise work.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about a different thing that's been a big thing for me, which is gratitude. And I may have told you on the phone. So I had like an MDMA thing, which I'd like to bring you into, but MDMA, probably 8 months ago, took MDMA, was able to forgive all of my many enemies. My many, many enemies that I carry around everywhere I go. I'm 90% grudge. If
you take the grudge away, you just collapse onto the ground.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's teeth. So I was able to, and I was like, why was I able to forgive everyone yesterday? And the reason was because I had positive chemicals in my brain for once: serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. Normally, I don't have any of that. I have cortisol and adrenaline. If you're flooded with cortisol and adrenaline most of the time, which I have been, and you probably are as well, you start to look at the world. You start framing things like that. So your frame, instead of appreciation or joy or happiness, it becomes like justice and retribution.
Yeah.
So I realized that like I have a machine in my brain. I have a kitchen in my brain that's just making lead sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I'm eating it. Going, this is a good sandwich. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to stop listening to my brain. So I've stopped listening to my brain. I just go like, no, I'm not. I don't even believe that. Because if I'm mad on Friday and forgiving on Saturday, what's even my personality?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any fixed beliefs.
Right.
I thought my fixed beliefs was like, well, when they do this, then I have no choice. So I've been writing I was doing a gratitude checklist once a day. Talking to somebody.
I thought you were telling me you're doing it like 3 times
now
a day.
I'm doing it. So someone goes, why don't you do it more than, why don't you do it? I was talking about Islam and saying how like praying 5 times a day is about right. Because you forget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like why I tried to do a joke one time. There's churches on every block because that's how long church lasts. You know what I mean? Like you're like fucking, you leave church, you're like, people are good, and then by the end you're like, fuck people, you know. And then you see the church, and you're like, people are good.
Yeah.
So Islam prays 5 times a day. I was like, someone said, why don't you write in that journal 5 times a day? I was like, fine. I've been doing it like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's not even a journal. I just checklist the facts of my life.
Right.
And my life is unequivocally great.
So you're just describing.
I'm just describing
objectively what is a good life. Right.
In my life.
Right.
And it can be career shit. It can be you have legs.
Mm-hmm.
It can be you're healthy. It can be it's sunny out in LA. It can be whatever the positive. You have a family. You have a debt. Happily married. The bullshit you tell yourself. But it really is like it changes the weather in your brain.
Right.
Instead of just like taking the temperature, you can actually like be like the Chinese military and shoot bombs.
Yeah.
You can cloud seed. You can control the weather like the Jews and the Chinese. And you can actually control, and it's been a huge boon.
So it's not about, because so much of therapy is
honoring your feelings.
Well, it's honoring your feelings, but it's also trying to nullify the negative things. It's trying to put to rest your traumas. And at a certain point, I made a transit because I've been going to therapy as long as you have, and I've tried everything. As you have, we've tried every.
Yep.
You were the one that got me into electromagnetic stimulation, or TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. I've tried it all, and it's all added up. I mean, I think like you, there's a cumulative effect that I have become a much more balanced, happy person. But I think one of the big transitions I made was going from more of a psychoanalytic, looking at past trauma, and instead cognitive behavioral therapy, where you say, hey, you know that thought you keep having? You're allowed to swap that out for a different one. Yeah. And so you're looking forward instead of back. And I find that works much better for me.
Yeah. Or like questioning, like, well, I thought it, so it must be true.
Right.
It's science fiction most of the time. It's literally like a world that doesn't exist, and you're writing for it. Like, this person hates you. They're not thinking about you in the slightest.
Right.
This is they fucked me. Occasionally they might fuck you. You fuck people probably more than you get fucked. You weren't ready for that, were you? That level of truth.
I had that thought the other day.
No,
yeah. Like, I'm not that good of a guy. I'm expecting things from people I don't necessarily give them.
At all.
Yeah. Like when somebody ghosts me, I could get so upset, and then I go, I fucking ghost people all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's like a dozen people who think you're dead.
Yeah. Is that based on my looks?
Well, do with that what you will. I like to do vague insults, and then you have to do the math yourself.
Color it in.
You're like, wait a minute. What did he mean by that? I'm not going to respond to your text. I'll tell you that. So you can change. You don't have to take your word for it. Like, you're lying to yourself most of the time.
Yeah.
And we're also trained to scan for threats as people. So when there's no threats left, you go like, that roof leaking.
Yeah.
Most people don't have a roof.
Right.
And by the way, your roof's not leaking.
Yeah.
But you just and then the weird, because of the way culture is now in the last social media, is like you can't even really be grateful or appreciative, because it's like, it's privilege. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I'm going to keep you out of this.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, then now I'm going to become like the way rich people have giant hedges, because they don't want people looking, poor people looking in.
Right.
Because they couldn't handle it. That's how I'm going to be with my mood now. It's like, well, then I'm just not going to bring you in it if you're going to be mad at it. If I have to do a caveat.
Right, but how does that keep you from being shut off from people?
It doesn't.
You just selectively let people in.
Well, what's shut off? I mean, what do you mean? Like,
I mean, walking around in a cocoon.
When's the last time you walked around?
No, I mean, like walking into the back hallway of the Comedy Store.
Yeah, that's fine. But I'm not like, what am I, Sebastian? Sebastian, if you're just listening.
Sebastian.
About 7 years ago, found an entrance to the Comedy Store. No one knows about it. I don't know how he gets in. I always make a joke. He like rappels down from a hotel across the way. I don't know where he parks.
Yeah.
I don't know how he gets out, but he's really reduced the riffraff in his life.
I think it's a hologram.
Still writing a lot of jokes.
Yep.
And he's on a sitcom, so he seems to be fine.
Yep.
But that's the thing of like, what are you you're not gonna be a man of the people?
Yeah.
Why? So I can be around a bunch of fucking mental patients?
Yeah. Right. No, there's landmines. That's the thing about going to comedy clubs or industry parties or anything like that, is that I always am talking to somebody I don't want to be talking to, and the person that is going to bring me joy, he's over there or she's over there, and I'm stuck. And so yeah, it's hard to learn how to flow through those social situations, because I do want to be open. I do want to be available, because there's a lot of, like, especially young comics at the store, maybe doormen.
You want to pick up a reference? You want to pick up a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out the new social medium that people are using before it's gone past me again. How many have I missed entirely? I was Johnny MySpace. I had so many followers. I fucking loved it.
Also, using the term Johnny.
Yeah.
Really dated it.
Right. Is this mic stand driving you crazy?
Well, only the fact that it's tilting repeatedly. No,
Yeah.
it's not driving me crazy.
All
It's
right.
going to be bad TV and bad podcast.
Yeah. Just put your hand
But
on
I'll
it
do
like
whatever. I know, but it's a okay.
this. $22,000 a month. You think we'd have the mic stands figured out?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I knew a guy who was paying $350. Yeah. So I'm not worried about even that thing of like isolate. All right. So I'll say to the crowd, what's a better reference?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not. I just now a lot of times, and it's maybe we've talked about this, learning a lesson I don't want to learn, which is I don't want to think everyone's crazy.
Yeah.
And everyone's selfish but it seems pretty overwhelming at this point.
Wow.
Like now I'm going to the Comedy Store going like, this is a bunch of, it's like, I just see like an insane asylum.
Yeah.
I see like Shutter Island
Uh-huh.
at a comedy club because the shit people will say to me where I'll be like, what?
Yeah. All right.
And then I have to decide like, should I vaporize this person with negativity or just go like,
All right.
but
Yeah.
because it's their own craziness
Yep.
yapping at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just less interested.
Yeah.
I'm less interested because how much we is there? How much is it an us?
Well, that's the thing about the store is there's always been this history of it being an us and like, clubs having an identity where people are brought up and they help each other and they support each other. That's not always the experience.
And it's also now everyone's a booker.
Yeah.
Everyone's a comic /
Podcast
massive
booker.
podcast booker.
Yeah, they want you to do their show in
Or
Los
they
Feliz.
don't.
Yeah, right.
You might catch a do my open mic, do a podcast in the trunk of my car, or you might catch Segura.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you might and is there so there's a thing of like I don't want to do the trunk of my car podcast, which is it gets a surprising amount of downloads. But I do want to do Segura.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to not want me to do it.
Uh-huh.
So it just becomes this like tension within that probably wasn't there before.
Right.
That was just like, hey, can you get me in at the Tonight Show?
Mm-hmm.
And you go like, not really.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. That was the end of the comment. So whatever. So I just think it's more fraught, and the if I just write the jokes and figure out a place to do them where they work, the community part is less like meaningful.
Well, you've got your own. You have a phone community. Like you seem like a guy that keeps in touch with people. Like you pick up the phone anytime I call and we'll talk for an hour, like nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like you talk to Chappelle and Rock and Trevor Noah and you talk to a lot of people that are like-minded, that are kind of positive people.
Yeah. I mean, well,
I don't know if they say positive, but they're moving towards something. There's
I think when people hear those names, they go like black. That's the first thing.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Sure,
all
you
black.
didn't, Greg.
That's
Please.
racist.
The guy who said
that's racist that you just noticed that.
Rich, poor Asians. Now all of a sudden he doesn't see race. The Trevor, we talk about mental health stuff a lot. With those guys, with anyone like a high level showbiz person, I just see it as like, what am I aiming at?
Yeah.
Like, is that the end game?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not. I mean, showbiz will take care of you one way or the other. Like, because I'm not going like, I don't even want their level of success. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you kind of go, huh? Well, that's like the dream. How's it sound?
Mm-hmm.
How's it sound talking to them about like what the experience is?
Right.
I think most things that you would consider negative are just like, it's hard being a person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard being a person when you're like a target for money and whatever. You're a rich celebrity. That's like its own difficulty, but it's all about the same amount of hard.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Right.
There's no escape hatch.
No, it's almost better to find a level you like and then make your home there. Like I have a joke, like I crawl my way to the middle and I'm staying right there. Like I am really look, I'd like to be selling more tickets in Boca on Wednesday night.
Sure.
But that's the extent of me going like I don't see.
Well, that's, you know what I've done that you might want to try doing? It's just don't put yourself in situations where you're going to get embarrassed.
Right.
You know where I don't do shows ever? Florida.
Right.
You know why? Because Boca's there.
Yes.
No, I don't do shows in Florida because I can look on my website and see where people are from.
Uh-huh.
And they're not from Florida.
Right.
They just aren't. I'm not going to be like, I got to break the market. No.
Yeah.
I hear you. We don't got the chemistry.
Right.
Florida. Charlotte, we don't got it.
Tampa, though. Rethink Tampa. Side
No,
Splitters.
thanks.
Good club.
Don't care. Don't care. Don't need it. And then what?
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I sell out. I make my bonus at Side Splitters.
Yeah.
The 7 saddest words in the English language. I don't even know how many words that is. It's too many. I made my bonus at Side Splitters.
I think it's one word, Side Splitters.
Well, but close enough.
All right, close enough.
Yeah. So I don't. And that's the other thing that you get old enough, you go, and then what?
Well, I don't know if this is if I find a club that's great. Look, would you go to Wisconsin normally? Madison, Wisconsin, Comedy on State is one of the best comedy experiences you can have. I mean, there's clubs in cities.
I do go there. Yeah.
There's
I do there because there's college. Because I will draw. I will draw there.
Right.
The last time I put shows on, no one there wants to, I don't do it for them.
Yeah.
Point taken. It's like Sam Morril had a joke about his parents put him up for adoption, and it was like, you ever want to find him? He's like, no, I got the message. Pretty loud and clear. And that's how I feel about like Florida, Ohio. I don't need to go there.
Yeah.
Idaho, I don't need to go to.
Right.
Seattle, yeah, I'll go a bunch. Like certain places, I'll just, where do they want me? Great. Austin, great. Dallas, not bad. Houston, not bad. Houston's
actually gotten great.
Again,
started going there a lot in the last couple of years.
I was just there. For you.
Yeah.
I'm doing a show. When does it sell out?
Yeah.
Houston, it was the day of the show. It's a little late.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
Austin was a month out, 2 months out. So whatever. Yeah. I'm just going to go places where there's the emotional wear and tear is minimal.
Yeah.
I can do a great show for people that want me to be there.
Right.
And I don't have to worry about like buying ads and fuck it.
I know. It turns
and for what?
I can remember being a feature act and seeing headliners sweat about whether the show is sold out. And when you're a feature, all you care about is trying to kill, trying to have fun. It's all about the comedy. And then you become a headliner and you have to spend 50% of your energy as like a marketer and, you know, worrying about sales and all that shit.
It's like running for Congress. Once you get elected, you have to spend most of your time on the phone.
And then I look at like Attell, who we talked about earlier. Did you see his new special, by the way?
It's
fucking great. But he stayed in clubs. I mean, he could have tried to step it up to theaters because he goes into a club and he sells out every show and then he doesn't have to worry about it.
Nope, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why make it hard on yourself?
Right.
Why do? It's like, if I don't have kids. The point of not having kids is then I don't have to go to Boca.
Thanks, JoJo.
Again, JoJo. This is
really appreciate it.
I mean, it really put a lot of things in perspective.
And then I'll call her from Boca to say hi. Doesn't take the call.
Why would she?
Yeah. Who wants to talk to a guy in Boca?
She didn't sell out. Why would she? It's for sellouts only. So it's more like what I'm in the what am I doing this for phase, and I probably am who I am phase, and I probably am not going to change anyone's mind about me phase.
Yeah.
Which seems like what was it? Are you like throwing in the towel? No. But I'm not gonna make myself insane trying to get to use the girl analogy again, a girl who doesn't want to fuck me. Fuck me.
Right. Well, I mean, I think you.
And having said that, a lot of girls want to fuck. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm popular, so I'm not. But there's always someone more popular.
Yes.
It's just a matter of, do you let it define you and make you insane?
Right.
Because what you find is a lot of the people that are more popular presently, it doesn't last forever. My popularity won't last forever. Theirs won't last forever. They might get
But it's also about balance, and I think that you and I have both done a lot of writing. You do directing, and when you don't put all your eggs in that one basket, it doesn't hurt as much when you don't sell out in Boca, because I just directed a special this past weekend, and I'm coming back and I'm working on, my podcast, and but I think when you live and die, doesn't it make you question the old dreams, where even before we started talking, where you were talking about somebody selling out and no sitcom and like the old, like, no, you do stand up and then some angel from Hollywood comes and plucks you, and then you get a sitcom, and then you get $100 million, and then you go on the road sometimes, and that's a career. And then and then if you're stuck with that, then if you're doing a special and you'd be like, Richard Pryor didn't have to direct specials. Yeah. Like, you can or you can just put it in perspective, and I'm more on the put it in perspective side. And I still have a lot of that, like, virus of like, you gotta add a show, and you gotta. But I think it was the first writing job I got was very humbling, because I had made my way up to being a headliner, and I was making good money, and I had stuff going on in my career. And then I had a kid, and I realized that I had missed a lot of the first year of his life by being on the road. Not an important year. Go ahead. Nah, he's not going to remember anything. And so I called Louie C.K., who was writing on Cedric the Entertainer Presents on Fox, and I was like, hey, man, you got to get me a job. And he fucking got me a job. It was that easy. And so I suddenly had to go to meetings. Mm-hmm. And I had to show up at a certain time, and I had to work late. And I was like, and every time a PA would call me into a meeting, I'd be like, who the fuck are you? Because you get such a big ego as just a comic, and you're so in control. Yep. And nobody's talking down to you. And then you work on a TV show, and you're just a cog. And I think that was really good for me. Why? Because it made me realize that I think my ego, people are built differently. Some people can look at Ray Romano, like, never got an ego with all the success he's had. And I think when I had stuff go, like when I was hosting a game show on MTV, I had a big development deal, and I just done Letterman. And I was kind of a fucking asshole. I look back at that time, and I know, not just because people told me, but I look back and I can remember some of the things I said. And I realized, like, I needed to be humbled a little bit. And I think that the balance of getting built up on the road and then coming back and working for other people and being part of a team has made me a more complete person. Yeah, you're a better person, but you didn't move out to LA to be a good person. No, but I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate with what you're saying. But you're assuming that dreams stay static for your whole life. I think a dream is something that gets you from A to B, and then the next dream gets you from B to C. And there may what happens to the one after that? Well, I think you still have. Let me guess, C to D. You still have dream B going, but it's not the only dream now. Right. Well, you realize the sort of silliness of the dream. Right. Or you get close enough and you're like, oof. Yeah. I'm just going to do this because I don't want to have to. Oh, all right. Good. With this horseshit facilities. It's unbelievable. $22,000 a month. Come on, Boca. Come on, Late Show Boca. Come on, Boca. Here's the best part. My mom's coming to the show in Boca with friends from her the least senior one. Hopefully the least, the most, this ticket's still available one. Yeah, so the dream, and then I'm also thinking about, like, when dreams do come true, what does that even mean? Yeah. Like,
even the story you tell yourself, like, I was a doorman, and then I became and then I did this, and it's like,
yeah.
It's it's even like, I want to be remembered. No one's remembered.
Yeah,
and that's a stupid goal.
Yeah,
and it's from a sick person.
I remember, I'm not going to say the comic, talking about his legacy, and I just literally looked at him like, what the fuck? Name a comic from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. Mark Twain. That's it.
Yeah.
And what? Name a Mark Twain bit. Real quick. Remember that one? I mean, he does have some bangers, but he has like the weather in San Francisco. Everybody talks about the weather. Nobody ever does anything about it. He's got some bangers, but like, they're one-liners.
Yeah.
But no, I say that all the time. I love comedy. I haven't watched Richard Pryor in 20 years.
Yeah.
Love comedy. Comedy's my life.
Right,
I don't. It's fine. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Carlin. Yep. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And even the goal, we both had goals. We both fulfilled a lot of them. Yeah. What did it mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think goals are...
It's like a story and it gives you a frame, but then you're just going to go, okay.
Yeah.
Even Dave, Trevor, Chris, like, iconic, live, and you just go, and?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the goal is the thing that gets you out of bed and gets you moving, but ultimately you try to find a process that you enjoy.
Right.
And then the goal becomes less important because you found the process.
Right.
But you got to have the goal. And it is hard when you're young and you don't have one and you're just sort of like floating around.
We are lucky because people without goals will say, like, you're very lucky of a goal. And I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a chopping wood type thing. Like, just to do it again, do it again, do it again. I mean, the good news about comedy is it's so hard.
Yeah.
And they don't care about how good you've been.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. What?
Yeah.
I mean, look at your ticket sales in Boca.
They don't care. They have no idea that I did.
They've never heard of you.
50 times on Stern, 23 times on Rogan,
They've
7 Letterman appearances.
Of you. They have never heard of
you.
Nope. Thank you. That's why I stay away from that entire state. And I hope it keeps sinking. Anyhow, and I hope that they can't get. I hope the homeowners insurance debacle it continues, and I'm gonna be. You know where I'm gonna be? Not there.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be clicking. I'm gonna be hitting refresh on Florida Google. So I guess I'm getting some perspective, or I've gotten some perspective, and a lot of this stuff is silly.
Yeah.
And it's not even sour grapes.
Right.
I say that as a successful person. And I'm like, a lot of this is silly.
Yeah.
But I'm going to I'll keep doing it.
I think the other thing that helps is when there's somebody who you consider to be a peer that you consider to have kind of an equal skill set to you.
Yeah.
And you get a little competitive with that person. That's the best. Nothing drives you, and then you let go of it. Then you get to a certain point and you go, thanks for the ride, buddy. I appreciate the little pull you gave me.
When you say that, I'm trying to think of who. I never had it equal because I was like, I was Kevin's little brother.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of Dave's little brother.
Right.
And then I was 33 and started doing stand-up. So there was there were no peers. And I always find it weird when me and you and Tom Papa are like the New York guys left in LA.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more that just aren't at the store. And then there's guys like Ramon. But like you and me and Papa are not really peers.
Right.
I didn't start with you guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just I don't know who your competitors were.
Well, Jeff Ross and me.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think we were very similar.
Jeff as well, yeah.
Geraldo was till he died.
So he won?
I won.
He won or he lost?
I think I won that one. He was taking it way too seriously.
Yeah. He couldn't sleep until he really could.
Yeah.
Please cut that. He would enjoy that.
No, there was I've had a lot of people that I started with, and it is funny how the older you get, the closer you get to those people, even though you don't see them as much. Like, I'll see Todd Barry.
Yeah,
and I'll be like,
it's just
holy
an understanding.
shit.
It's like, that's weirdly what I have with Dave and Chris, and like, there's not, it seems like we're not peers. Like, everyone would go, you're not peers. And I go, I know what you mean, but when you know when someone was at the Boston Comedy Club in 1992, it's just, there's a shorthand.
Yeah.
That you can't, but at the same time, I never was like trying to outright any of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dave, I was I just wanted to contribute.
Right.
I didn't want it to be like, I didn't want to do the show if it wasn't going to be, we were both getting shit on. Right.
Would you ever create another sketch show?
No.
Too much work?
Yeah, it's too hard.
Yeah.
And also, it's the other thing of, I know what happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no, I know. It's a joke I've never been able to figure out. But you know how you get to when people go, you want to go out later? We're going to go drinking. You know that there's 4 or 5 outcomes. You've lived them all multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I did a sketch show. I know Lorne Michaels had a fucking, it's not even like a diss, it's just like a funny thing that when you've been doing it long enough. Lorne was talking about a sketch and he goes, it was a sketch I'd seen 5 times, I'd written it 3 times myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I don't know if I've ever said there's a sketch that a lot of people submit when they submit to Write for Saturday Night Live. It's like, Mike Schur wrote it. I just know 4 or 5 people that have written it.
Yeah.
It's a woman breaking up with a guy, and he's in the middle of a pie eating contest. But it's just that sketch. But you can do it's a cancer ward on Halloween. It's just like something, whatever. So you end up in life. You know the outcomes of going on the road.
Right.
You know what Thursday night's probably going to be like. Probably going to eat something bad, and then you're going to be like, oh, why did I do that? And you're going to try to go to sleep, and you can't, and whatever. And then with a TV show, I know what happens. Yeah. And I did it. I lived it. Right. What am I going to do? Was more successful for what? So that all people are going to say is it's not as good as Chappelle's show. Right. And they'll be right. Yeah. So why do that to myself? Right. And they'll be right, and I won't have slept for a year and a half. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Sign me up.
No, it's like process versus goal. Like, and some people, like, I never had like the long-term gratification thing. I think I've always needed the quick hit. So why stand-up was always a good answer for me. Yeah. But there are people that even within stand-up are looking at that, selling out that arena and saying, I will, make this sacrifice. I'll put in this extra effort. I will push myself. And the process is not fun. I mean, the idea of pushing yourself and cutting up clips and getting on the internet.
But I don't know anyone who's pushed themselves into an arena.
I think it's a combination of a persona that clicks with the public and pushing yourself that hard.
Dave didn't push himself into arenas.
No,
Louie didn't push himself into arenas.
Yeah, but those are anomalies.
Didn't push himself. No. Joe didn't. None of them did.
You don't think Bert and Tom have created a media empire?
I don't think they did it. I think it just happened. I don't think there was any premeditation, honestly. I'm
not maligning them. I'm just I'm saying they're hardworking.
I'm saying there's nothing you can do to get popular other than just be somebody that people want. Right. I was arguing with this. I couldn't make myself into an arena act. Mm-hmm. It's impossible. Yeah. I'll work my ass off. You're confirming my point. I can cut up all the clips I want. Yeah. This face ain't going to be on a marquee. And this is better looking than you.
Yeah.
So
still questionable. Right into the show.
Let us
know
who's
in better
the
looking. Neal?
No, you can't. I don't believe it. I believe, and that's the other thing of like, how badly am I going to beat myself up for the way my voice is and the way my eyes look. Do you know what I mean? Like that's, and so much of this is intangible.
Yeah.
Like
it's an energy thing. It's the way
like
your eyes dart around the room.
Like a fucking old time carnival barker.
You're right.
He did 15 years ago in Conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Or 20 years ago. It's just like, it's not like, and he built the perfect comedy. I mean, he just was.
Right.
You know?
I don't know. I think that's true to some degree, but I think that there are people that have incredible, like Jim Gaffigan putting out new hours, doing viral stuff, doing interviews. It's a lot of stuff he doesn't have to do. There's a point at which most people go, this is enough. And I'm talking about the people that have that arena goal and they stick with it and they push past comfort zones where they could settle. And, you know, I
think Gaffigan's maintained a high level for a long time. But the arena thing is like, he's doing it with Seinfeld.
Right.
As an example.
Well,
like
but
Jerry didn't.
He can do 10,000 seats on his own.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm saying, I don't know if it was, I don't know Gaffigan well enough to say what his motivation was. But I think a lot of it's just people make a decision about you that you have nothing to do with.
Right.
And you just have to just like, oh, cool.
Right.
They love me. Like all the people we've named, anyone, Mulaney, let's say in Chicago, I do the Vic twice, 2,000 seats. Mulaney does the United Center 4 times. That's 65,000 seats.
Yeah.
Is he 32 times funnier than me?
Yeah.
There's no amount of work that it's just, the audience just decides you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And if it's not you, there's kind of nothing you can do.
And it is funny because then you have comics, which are the guys that, you know, your Eddie Pepitones or your Andy Kindlers or your Todd Glasses, who can, even Maria Bamford to some degree, who can be among comedians respected more than anybody. And the public just goes, nope.
I'm not going to go on the record as saying the audience was like, nope. But I will say,
I mean, a mass audience, like a touring following.
Right. But
no, the audience in the room loves them.
It's like gourmet. It's like a Michelin star chef is never going to be, you have to be able to be sold you're like McDonald's.
Right.
And some people are like easily digestible.
Mm-hmm.
And some are not.
Right.
So, and it, again, and what does it mean? Nothing.
Yeah.
No, it kind of, it's like the narrative and like the story and like the future and then because all the stuff you do, none of it really feels like what you think it's going to feel like.
Right.
You know, like your multiple things you've done. It's like, yeah, and then you just leave and
yeah. And the next day is actually usually a sad day.
Yeah,
anytime something big
happens, you thought you escaped. You dug a hole to be in a different part of the prison.
Right.
You're like, no, this is the fucking, no, I've got the map.
No, I remember doing Letterman for the first time, and it was the high point of my career. Still, high point of my, nothing will ever match how I felt the night I did that. And I spent 3 days on the couch after that. I was like, what now?
Yeah.
That didn't fit. That felt great, but you know,
nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
I mean, you're still an obnoxious guy with an MTV game show, from what I heard.
But good looking back then. All right, let's do a little thing called
hair.
Fastballs with
He had
Fitz.
Bangs.
I did have bangs.
I just made that up.
I had bangs.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It's a Tell's old joke that if he was going to lose his hair, he would have done more fun shit with his hair.
Yeah.
He would have had a man bun. I don't remember what his...
That new special is just, it's the best thing he's ever done. I mean, he's done a lot of great things, but I said to him the other night when I saw him, I go, that's as good as anything you've ever done.
I would agree with that.
And he goes to me, well, that's a backhanded compliment. I go, I didn't mean it to sound like that. I just meant that the quality of what you do has not...
compliments well.
Yeah, I know.
Kidding.
But he has never dipped. He's always kept it at this level.
Agreed.
Yeah. Food delivery guy, or as I call him, a third responder.
Yeah, he's got great bits.
All right, so have you ever saved somebody's life?
I mean, fans every night. Right? Fans.
You're like an emotional support animal.
I'm a fifth responder.
Yeah.
No. And I hope to never have to.
Has anyone ever
if
saved your
given the
life?
option, I will refuse it.
You'll pass.
It's like sitting in the aisle on the plane, like, I can't handle this. Has anyone ever turned that down? Like, I'm not prepared to. What do I have to do? God, no.
Oh, no. Kevin Pollak just came on and said that he was in the ocean with a friend and the waves got crazy and the guy called for help and Kevin just ignored him and he tried to save himself. And he said, luckily, the lifeguard came out and saved the other guy.
He ignored him?
Yeah, well, I guess he didn't see him. He saved his friend.
Did the other guy die?
No, the lifeguard saved Kevin's friend.
Was Kevin in trouble?
Kevin was in trouble too, but I guess he found his way out.
Yeah, not so far. I hope to not.
Yeah.
I really hope to not.
Right.
Because I don't think.
It's not worth the story.
I think the thing about debt, like there's some stat that convicted murderers, the recidiv, like they like less than 1% of them do it again. Like we don't like dead people.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasant experience. Like that, I was arguing on, and there was an article about it. If I don't want a gun in my house, because I don't have anything in my house that's worth killing someone for.
Right.
That includes my girlfriend. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't. Take the fucking $400 TV. I don't give a shit. I don't want to have to have killed someone. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, so I shoot him. Then what do we just hang out till the cops get there? So we just like, so what else?
Yeah.
How did you thought you were gonna, you crazy motherfucker? Like what?
You're saying he's not dead.
He's not dead.
Yeah.
Maybe I shot him in the leg
right.
or the shoulder.
And now he's looking in the eye
now it's just a real awkward date.
Yeah.
And yeah, like so I don't want to kill anyone and I don't want to save anyone.
Yeah. It's almost like the stand your ground thing of like, it's always some guy he lives in a trailer.
Yeah, like,
he hates his job. He's divorced.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're protecting nothing.
Yeah.
You just don't like X-rays.
There you go.
Yeah.
Who do you want to give your eulogy?
I may have said this to you before. I want every comedian I've ever given a tag to line up.
There you go.
And go up and say what the tag was.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Tell them the joke. Tell them what I gave you.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Credit. Till the fucking bitter end. After the bitter end. So that everyone will know they were wrong about me. That's all I've ever wanted. But I'm very healed. Thank you, MDMA. But these cocksuckers, they make it hard.
I know. I think there is there's a line where people are wondering when they listen to you if there's a rage that's going to come back out after this phase.
No.
You think this is forever?
Yeah. I'm not going to put up with this shit anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep begging for something that people are incapable of giving me.
Right.
Like, I have some pride.
Yeah.
And there was never a rage. It was just like a pool of bitterness.
No, but I have a relationship in my life that I just yesterday said, you know what? That person is not calling me back, and I'm ruminating on it. And all I got to do is let go of it. All I got to do is go, I got so many people in my life. I don't need...
the amount of people, we've talked about this off the air, the amount of people I've stopped talking to is impressive.
Right.
In the last couple of years. It's like, oh no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
And it's not even bitter. It's like, not like, fuck you. It's just like...
No, that was the beauty of the feeling I had.
Pushing a little boat off
right.
on that pond in Central Park.
It felt gentle yesterday. Not that I will forever forget about this person, but that dynamic that I was holding on to that was feeding me, I realized that's like you said, it's all me. It's a lie in my head. What's going on? I don't know what's going on with
you
them.
Also thought it was you. I've realized that a lot of I was doing like the sci-fi negative and then magical thinking about friendships.
Yeah.
About how we were all, it's that we thing. It's like the we, and we're all a clan. You're a store guy and you're a seller guy. It's like, that shit doesn't mean anything to most people.
Yeah.
So it may not even mean anything to me.
Yeah.
If push comes to shove, I'm not doing your trunk podcast.
All right. Last question from the Fastballs with Fitz.
I love it.
What is the hackiest bit you've ever done?
Fuck. How to decide.
I got like a dozen if you run dry.
In order to say it, I would have to sell some people out, so I won't say it. I won't say that story. I did Seinfeld's plane bit with the curtain once at like 5 years ago. I was like, that seemed familiar.
Yeah.
And then I found it was like, oh yeah, what did I think?
What's the bit?
Just that little curtain between first class and business, or first class and coach. What we used to call coach, now it's called economy. It's like when they close it, they might as well be like, if you just worked a little harder, and then they close it. So it's a great bit. I just thought it was mine, and it turns out it was 30 years old.
Well, I think that's part of the definition of hack that most people don't think of. Is comics think of hack as you stole it, or it's been done a number of times. So,
well, that's the hard part with
Well, we just wrote the
gender.
same joke last month.
Yeah.
I wrote that joke. Well, I won't say yours because I don't know if you're doing it a special or whatever, but we had the exact same joke.
Yeah. I feel like mine was structured better.
Oh, I dropped mine because I thought yours was stronger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So
Mine was what?
I am great. I was right.
No, just because mine had one beat and you had a few jokes
and also
about it.
like the clock's ticking.
Right.
Hamas.
Literally Hamas.
Yeah. So hack, but that's with gender stuff or relationship stuff or sex stuff. You're like, how do I? Has no one done this?
Right.
And then you do it and no one says anything. You're
Right.
like, okay.
Right. I know. I called 3 people. I just taped a special a few months ago, and I called 3 people in the green room before I went on to ask them if they had this particular joke, because I'd had it was a pretty new joke and nobody'd said anything. But then I said, if it's anybody's, it's these 3 people. And I called them. They were all like, no. And I was like, I did it in the special.
Yeah, it feels good. Although 5% of you still thinks you stole it or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was talking to Bert Kreischer about this. Like, it might be a Catholic thing, but if I get accused of something, I automatically picture myself doing it, and then I think I did it a little bit.
Well, that's what they do when they interrogate prisoners.
Yeah, you go. It's Rockheaded version of it, which is after when the cop pulls him over and they're like, is this your car? And he's like, is this my car? Am I wealthy? How could I have this car? Greg Fitzsimmons, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Neal Brennan, everybody. Thank you for being here, my friend.
My pleasure, buddy.